Now, we did all this yesterday, yes? We're just putting it in a new place so it's all organized in one table. What I want to do now is transfer this into mathematical notation. It's going to be a little bit weird, maybe, but you've seen it in Algebra 2. Remember, you told me yesterday, I heard some of you saying, oh yeah, Mr. Abdullah told me this once upon a time. So it shouldn't be brand new, but we're going to just recap and make sure everything's all good. Before I start filling these things in, I want to remind you that the transformations we're going over, this is right here, but I'm going to write it nice and big, are always in this form where the A and K are showing up first and last, and the B and the H are showing up interior right here. That's important. Okay, so I'm going to start with, we'll do vertical things first. So I'm going to do the first and the last row right here in this interior column. What we saw yesterday was that we had vertical translations of two kinds. We could go up or we could go down, right? And when K was a positive number, where did the graph go? Anybody remember? Emma? Up. If K was something positive, the graph went up. When K was something negative, the graph went down. And when I think about that, that's pretty intuitive for me. When I see a function that has like a +3 out here, in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, that thing should go up. Versus if I saw a -3 right here, my intuition or my gut, my instinct would tell me, send that function down. Okay, so this aligns quite nicely with what you want the function to do. Up here with the A, we have three scenarios. A can be greater than 1, A can be between 0 and 1, and sometimes A might be just negative. And each of those three scenarios has a different effect on our graph. However, just like down here with K, these three scenarios align pretty nicely with what you expect to happen, okay? So if I have a number in front of my function that's bigger than 1, like 3, like 4, like 500, in my mind I'm thinking, oh, I bet my graph's getting bigger and stretching or expanding. And that is true. If A is bigger than 1, we have an expansion. If you see a number in front of your function that's between 0 and 1, what's a number between 0 and 1? 1/2. 1/2, 0.5, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. What do you think should go here?
Compression.
Compression. And that aligns with your intuition. That's awesome. Compression, for sure. And if that number out front's negative, what do you think that means? Reflect. Very good. That's when I know I'm going to have the reflection. So my big takeaway here, that I will talk way more about in a minute, is that these vertical transformations align with what I would expect. Okay? That is not true of horizontal transformations. I'm going to switch colors so that I can separate this. For the B transformation or parameter, I'm going to set up the same inequalities but replace the A with B. So start with that, but don't draw any conclusions yet. And for the H parameter, I'm going to set up the same type of inequalities that I had with the K. Greater than 0 and less than 0. And unfortunately for all of us, things are a little bit wonky with horizontal transformations. What I mean by that is, if I saw a number bigger than 1, like 2 or 3 or 500, in my head I'm thinking, oh, I bet this is getting bigger. And that's actually false for horizontal things. So when B is greater than 1, I'm not going to have an expansion. I'm actually going to have a compression. Opposite. What do you think then if I see like those decimal numbers? expansion. We're going to do opposite. And luckily, a negative still means the reflection. I'm not doing anything weird with that. So similarly, I'm going to have opposite behavior with H. If I saw a number bigger than 0, like a +5 or something in here, my intuition wants me to go +5 to the right. However, since I'm inside the function, I actually have to do the opposite, which means I'm going to go left when I see a positive thing. And I'm going to go right when I see a negative thing. And as you record this, I have a metaphor for us. Are you ready? I don't do metaphors often or well, as you will realize in a second. But I want to try to communicate this in a way that will really, really, really stick for you, and you'll be able to remember it for years and years and years to come. At least the next few weeks, okay? So we're going to call our function our house right now. Go with it for a minute. I'm going to try real hard. Function is your house. And we're not sweet right now. We are defiant teenagers. Got it? So, take that on right now. Defiant teenager. And you have the worst pre-cal teacher who's just asking you to do tons and tons and tons of stuff and not understanding that you have a life outside of math class that you have to worry about. All she wants you to do is pre-cal, pre-cal, pre-cal. And that means when you go home to your house, you are grumpy, you are angry, you are defiant right now. You are not sweet, sweetie, which I know is hard for you. You are defiant. So here's the deal. These things that are going on inside of the function, these are the actions that someone might be asking you to take part in when you are inside of your house. So what I'm going to do is try and make this fake scenario, and it's silly, but I hope that you will remember it. The transformations inside are like your parents asking you to do something when you're at home. And remember, you're not sweet right now, you're defiant. So if someone like your mom or your dad or your grandma or your aunt or your uncle tells you to do something at home, you're grumpy, remember, because I'm horrible and I'm asking so much of you at school, you're not going to do what they ask you. You're going to be defiant, and you're going to do the exact opposite they ask you. Okay? So at home, when you are inside of your function and inside of your house, if your mom, for some reason, says, Giselle, I need you to add 7 right now. Do it. You're going to be like, heck no, Mom. I'm not adding 7. You know what I'm going to do? Because I'm defiant? I'm going to subtract 7 instead. Ha. In your face, Mom. That's what you're going to tell her. Not really, but in my face right now. You with me? Maybe? I know it's weird. When we're inside our house, because we're defiant and our parents are telling us to do something, we're not going to do that thing. We're going to do the opposite. Got it? But this is weird, especially with teenagers, because you can be in the grumpiest mood at home with mom and dad, brother and sister, whatever, and then you step outside of your house and you're with your friends and you're like, it's the best day ever, I'm in the best mood, life is great, honey, I'm so good, right? So let's pretend now that we are outside of the house and we're hanging out with our friends, and our friends, because we make good friends who make good choices, right? When they tell us, hey, you guys, Richard, go add 1. If your friend is telling you to do that, you're probably going to add 1, right? Because you do what your friends say because you're with them and it's cool and we do that, okay? So here's the takeaway here. When I am outside of my function, I am going to do what my friends have told me to do. Because it's cool to do what our friends say when they make good choices and all of that, right? Caveat. However, when I am inside my house and my parents are asking me to do something, I am not going to do what they ask. I am going to do the exact opposite.